Hey you guys, I'm back here with another discussion. Today I would like to talk about a few mostly lighting manufacturers that also manufacture ceiling fans. And I sort of want to talk about whether you should go for these brands or not when it comes to ceiling fans. Because I should give a bit of an explanation first, and I might have talked about some of this before in one of my previous discussions, but I honestly don't remember, and I don't have time to look back at like a couple hours of footage, especially since I already know these things. It would be extremely boring for me, and it's just not really worth it. So yeah, I figured I'd just make a whole video about it. So basically how it works is, right, lighting fixtures, you've got this, you typically on your standard lighting fixture, you've just got your structure and you've got like the wiring and the lighting sockets. They're fairly simple to make. And right now, I believe a lot of the fixtures in the lighting industry are currently made in India because it's they can do that. And this isn't really meant to rip on the people who make stuff in India. It's just that the way they make ceiling fans is different than how most of the US ceiling fans are currently made. So when it comes to ceiling fan manufacturing, a lot of the fans are usually made in like China or Taiwan, or I don't know if we have any in Japan. I honestly don't know. I'd have to do some more research, but a lot of those countries is typically where we see most of the ceiling fans that we get, unless they're made here, which I don't think many of them are these days, if any. So basically, a lot of the lighting manufacturers, they've got these contracts, probably most likely with factories in India to make their lighting fixtures. So for brands like a few I could think of the top of my head would be like Maxim would be one, probably Quoizel, even though they're more fandeliers, but still fans are more complicated. And then I'm trying to think of some of the other brands. I know that there are some. I guess Eglo could be considered one of them, but I'm not 100% sure on the cost on those fans. I've never really sold one, never had any experience with one. Another brand I guess I could say is Design House as well. They used to make more fans, but these days they're into a lot more of other things. But anyways, the quality on these products, most of the time they're mid-range. Maxim is one of the exceptions, and I guess technically Quoizel too. And the Quoizel just has fandeliers, and the Quoizel fandeliers are fairly decent quality. It's like they're lighting just with one of them little portable fan motor things inside of it that blows down. Whereas Maxim, they sort of changed their fandeliers. They're a little bit different, and they are much more expensive. These days, I think most of them are in like the $2,000 range maybe. And a lot of my showroom friends tell me that back in the day they used to sell more than Maxim fandeliers, but now that the costs have gone up just for the Wi-Fi and stuff, they haven't sold many of them since. And a lot of the other more builder basic products that Maxim offers, well, they certainly aren't the worst. They're just more expensive, and other brands that focus more on ceiling fans and are better quality, you can get something for that same price that Maxim offers, except the fan's just going to be better. So why would you go for them? And the thing is, this is where the costs go up, and this is the problem because, like I said earlier, these lighting manufacturers probably have got a contract with someone in India, so when they need to make fans, they've got to buy the motors or get some other contract or do something else, and that drives up the price since it's not their primary it's not the primary product that they manufacture. So basically that makes them more expensive for the brand to bring in. So then when they're selling them at a higher price, like a straight up builder basic fan, like this Quorum fan above me here. I don't know how much Quorum would have retailed the fan that I just showed you for. I don't have a price list from them, but these days I noticed brands selling them for about, anywhere from like, I want to say like $85 all the way up to maybe like 140, 150. And some of those higher costs are because the fans have a light kit on them as well, or maybe they've just got a few nicer features. Of course, there are some fans that are a bit more decorative, but if we're just talking about the most builder basic you can get, that's usually about what they cost. But Maxims are usually more in the 150 to I'd say 150 to 200 range. And when you can get something from a brand that has more experience in fans and makes better fans, why would you go for something like that? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And so typically I would say if you want one of the Maxim Fandeliers, that would be one of the few things I would say in terms of fans that you should definitely get from Maxim. Even though they are expensive, if you've got the money and that's the exact design you want, then, go for it. Airflow on those isn't terrible because they actually don't use one of them portable fan motors. They use actual little DC ceiling fan motors, so they're different. So they're going to move a little bit more air, and the airflow might be better from it. So, the Fandelier's all right. A lot of the Builder Basics fans like that, I think they've got is it called the Basic Max, or is that some other brand? I think it might be called the Basic Max. And then they've also got, I believe it might be called the Trio, or it's almost like a 3-blade thing. And then they've also got the Cupola, which is like a big orb fan. And then they've also got, I think it's called the Tanker. It's just a ripoff of the Monte Carlo Vision, if you've ever seen it. Or, well, it's not Monte Carlo anymore. It's Visual Comfort. I don't even know if they still make the Vision fan this year anymore because they haven't given me any information yet, so I can't tell. But anyways, what I'm trying to make is a lot of these products, you'd be better off going with somebody else unless you're talking about the Maxim Fandeliers. Maxim's Fandeliers are pretty good. Of course, keep in mind, Fanimation has a Fandelier in sort of a similar style called the Obvi, which is at a way better price point and is still great quality. And honestly, you do kind of get more features from it. Fanimation gives you really good speed range. They give you fan sync, and they give you all sorts of other stuff. Well, sure, the other Fandeliers from Maxim are Wi-Fi. Fanimation did the Obvi really well, and it's an amazing looking fan. Some of the other Fandeliers were cool too, but they didn't last long, unfortunately. But from what I hear and see and have seen in the actual fan itself, the Obvi is amazing. So there's not a whole lot of point to getting a Maxim product, honestly, at least in terms of fans. Because in terms of lighting, Maxim is absolutely amazing. I absolutely love the lighting. And when we were looking at lighting options just for around the house, whenever we sort of get an idea or something, the Maxim book is always one of the first ones I pull out because they've got great stuff. But in terms of fans, they've either got really basic fans or really expensive fans that you could probably get something better without. And another brand I think I should talk about now is Design House. Now, Design House does all sorts of stuff. They now do furniture, lighting, plumbing, fans, all that sort of stuff. And I'm not too sure how the prices are on everything else, but in terms of the fans are just too much. They took the prices out of the most recent book that they put online, and they don't have many fans left. I honestly think Design House would be better off just getting rid of the fans altogether, because apparently from what I've seen the reviews, they also aren't very good. But the prices on the fans are absolutely ridiculous. Are you familiar with those little 6-blade hugger fans with the mushrooms? Yeah, well, Menards sold them for about 20 bucks. Design House, who Menards also sells, basically, well, they used to, back when that fan would have been more likely to be sold. I don't know if they still do anything with Design House. But the point I'm trying to make is the Design House version of that fan, I think it's called the Atrium or something, is like $137 for that piece of crap. Those fans are just horrible. I don't care if you're a really decent fan manufacturer. If you're making one of those fans, they're probably not going to be very good. So the fact that they're selling that crap for that much is ridiculous. And you know what? I've got a book right here, so we might as well just look through it. I'm taking the 2021 because I don't know if the most recent one I've got has pricing in it. But yeah, let's take a look here. Yes, a bunch of these other fairly Builder Basic fans. They're all in the $200 price range. I don't know how well you can see them. A lot of these are just a little bit above Builder, I guess you could say. Yes, here we go. Okay, so here we go. Here's another example. This is, you can't see it very well. This is just your basic Builder with a 3-light kit, $200. Basic Hugger with a 3-light kit, $180. Oh yeah, and in this book, it appears to be listed at $119, that little 30-inch hugger. That's still not a good price. Their palm leaf fan is almost $300. That's freaking ridiculous. Meanwhile, then, you've got some of the actually nicer-looking ceiling fans, and these are only around the $200 range. I don't understand how their prices work. This fan right here costs about $10, $20 more than that really cheap basic 3-light kit fan that I showed you for a sec earlier. It just doesn't make sense. They're getting rid of a lot of the older designs, so I'm hoping that they're going to start fixing it, because this is just ridiculous, honestly. The Cali is about the only design from them I kind of like, and I've seen crappy reviews on it, so I would never recommend it or sell to anybody. Design House, they've got other stuff, and actually I'm kind of curious to see what the pricing is on it. Let's take a look at, oh, okay, here we go. This is what, yeah, look at this. See, your pretty builder basic ugly light fixture right here. Well, it's not really ugly. I kind of like that old design, but anyways, about $100. That's about what they sell them for at Menards. So why the ceiling fans are so expensive? It's probably for that same reason I mentioned with some of the other brands. Just taking a look here, a lot of the prices on a lot of their other products are pretty good. It's the ceiling fans that are just totally ridiculous. So if you're desperate and you see like the Design House is exactly it, nothing else matches it, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do, but I can almost guarantee you're gonna find another brand that's got basically what you want just for a better price. So yeah, there we go. I believe that about covers what I want to talk about here. That some brands, when they aren't exclusively in ceiling fans or almost exclusively, like there are other lighting and fan brands like Minka, but they do so many fans that it just doesn't matter. They can still have pretty good prices. What I'm trying to make is fans that rarely do fans. Like they've only got a few things. Typically, buying a fan from them is not what I would recommend doing because it's going to be cheap. They're not making it. It may not be it might not be the same quality you would associate with that brand either, because they could just be buying it from some other factory, you know. So the quality probably won't even be the same. So honestly, stick with some of the more well-known ceiling fan manufacturers and not the lighting manufacturers that have just a few ceiling fans available. Not only will you most likely save money, but you'll also probably end up getting a better product. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.